I'm joined now by Tim Armstrong. Tim, in February, you unveiled a totally new company, direct-to-consumer company called DTX, and now you're unveiling a new product service called Unbox. It's all about trying to connect consumers and brands. What is Unbox?
So, Julia, first, I think this is our 10th year doing this interview before Sun Valley. So I think, you know, the next 10 years for us is really about building a direct-to-consumer ecosystem, and Unbox is an ecosystem that we're building that basically allows consumers to directly connect with brands and brands to directly connect with consumers. So consumers today basically on their phones have enabled through their camera and through NFC codes the ability to directly connect. So if you pull your camera out, go and scan an Unbox code, it takes you directly to a brand, and from a brand perspective that allows you to have a direct customer relationship or customer ownership with the consumer. It allows you to manage your customer acquisition costs, and it really allows you to kind of build a different type relationship than over the last 10 years. The platform companies have done a great job of that, but the future, we believe, is in direct-to-consumer.
And the platform companies you're talking about are Facebook and Google, and the brands you're talking about, these direct-to-consumer brands, have basically lived on the likes of Instagram and Facebook. You know, companies that you've invested in, like Dirty Lemon, and like Olive and June. These are products which people see on Instagram, and then they click through to buy their products on Instagram. How is what you're doing different in trying to remove reliance from the likes of
Yeah, well,
Instagram?
we think you know, the FAANG companies are super strong and going to continue to be strong. What we've built in the ecosystem, our building, is an online, offline. So you as a brand can go on TV, you can go in catalogs, you can go in out of home, you can go on the web, you can go on mobile, you can go on social, you can go on events. We're announcing 2 events today. One is a DTC event that's going to hit the Midwest in Ohio, Michigan, and Indiana. And then we're doing a national DTC day on November 15th out of Soho in New York that will get broadcast to the whole country, where you get introduced to great DTC brands. I'm wearing one right now. I have a Rhone quarter zip on, and Rhone is a company that's partnered with us. We have about 10 or 12 companies that have already signed up to be in this ecosystem. And so really what we're doing, the FAANG companies are going to continue to be strong. We're essentially zeroed in on partnerships that it's not a winner take all, it's a winner for all marketplace, and that is really about giving brands access directly from your phone directly to a brand, and for a brand to keep the data and keep the CRM relationship they have, you know, with consumers. And in that ecosystem, we've also signed up some partners. Quad, who's one of the largest marketing operations companies in the world, put an investment into DTX and Unbox, and they've also lined up a strategic partnership with us. We acquired Ask Tipster, which is one of the largest social media ecosystem companies run by Andrew and Daniel, who are 2 successful entrepreneurs out of the Stanford Accelerator. So the ecosystem we're building is all companies that want to have direct-to-consumer businesses and relationships.
But so you had described to me this idea that small businesses pay a FAANG tax. They have to pay a certain amount of their revenue to reach consumers through the likes of Facebook and Instagram, and they also don't get the data that they need from Facebook and Instagram. How are you going to help them move away from that? And does that mean you're effectively stealing ad market share, or could see the potential to do that from the likes of an Instagram?
You know, one is we consider ourselves to be a retail ecosystem, and so I would say that our business is built off of kind of retail e-commerce. The second piece I would say is in our model, what we're building is the direct connectivity. We expect all of our brands will still use social and Google and those things, but really you can essentially create an online offline direct connection model, which is what Unbox is doing. So we really want the physicality of you as a consumer making a conscious choice. Sometimes we know those other platforms, algorithms will start directing you to different places. Our model is built off of a specific consumer action that they're choosing to take, and I think that consumer action is very, very valuable. So I believe our brands will basically be able to augment and expand their market share outside of the FAANG companies and really control their customer acquisition costs.
So help to diversify small businesses away from reliance on the FAANG companies. But I guess the question is, if you want to give small businesses more access to their data about who their shoppers are, how they're shopping, do you think that the way the FAANG companies use data needs to be regulated? What do you think about this big push to regulate both the data usage and privacy, as well as the content that exists on Facebook and Google and the like?
So what I would say is, you know, those companies did an unbelievably great job of organizing the internet when it was chaotic and chaos driven. We think the next generation basically is going to be able to use data and information that's direct between a consumer and a brand. And I don't know whether or not those are going to get those platforms will get regulated or not. But with today's technology, you don't need to go through one of those platforms to have a direct relationship. And I think the small businesses and the medium and even big businesses we're dealing with basically are starting to understand the fact that data is really the oil of the economy for these companies. And if those platforms don't allow you to have that data, you know, you're basically one step removed from your customer, one step removed from understanding how to run your business properly. Our model is to basically give you those things. Our privacy policy is built for that. So we think it'll be a different model.
And the giant in the retail space is Amazon, and there's a lot of concern that Amazon and some of these other companies are too big. Do you think a company like Amazon needs to be broken up to give your clients, your partners, the ability to really compete?
I don't think so. I think, you know, in our model, basically, I believe this, and I've seen two generations of the internet over the last 20 years. I think when walled gardens pop up and things become more closed, it essentially squeezes opportunities open next to those to have market expansion. And Unbox is targeted at the market expansion. I think, but in the world today, consumers have specific issues which they want to know what they're getting, why they're getting it, how they're getting it, and brands want to know who their customers are, what their data is, and what their customer acquisition costs are. It's 100% across the board. Those two problems are what we're addressing, and those problems are popping out of those platforms. So.